there is a real Afro culture too in Paris. And what happened like recently is like most of the Paris I was going through is like every 1 out of 3 tracks was a track coming from Lagos.
Hello guys, you're welcome to the Listening Sessions podcast, a show about the music industry, its players, and the game. My name is Obina Agu, music businessman and your host. Alright guys, Listening Sessions podcast season 3. I'm excited because I have very interesting people here today who came all the way, came across 7 seas just to be with us today. So my guest today is, they're a collective, right? But I'm talking to the host of their content, and his name is Jean. And Jean is the host and one of the partners for the Grunt network, right? Jean,
How far?
what's up, man?
How are you? How far?
How far? Whoa!
I trying to get the most words I can like learn from Nigeria right now. But like, thank you for having us. Like, and beautiful studio, and we're happy to be here. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for considering Nigeria worthy enough to be a part of what you're doing.
It's way more than worthy. It's like it's like the new mecca of the music around the world. So we have to be there. Like it's like
wow. This is an important sound bite that we need to use to market Nigerian music going forward. So thank you so much. So what brings you here?
In fact, the whole story about our network started back in 2011, and we started by like doing ciphers because back in the days, like there was all the huge medias like promoting the same artist all the time, and we get as used like bored of that, and we wanted to see like people that we were connecting with through the internet, and we wanted like to create a media that could push them forward. So what happened, in fact, is that we shot our first cipher back in 2012, and around the table was 2 of the artists that are now like the most selling records artists in France. So what in fact happened is that we got like back to back with the new cool cats in France. So it happened, and then it went further and further, and we made like different like ciphers through the years. But what happened a couple of years like back is that we got bored again, because you know what happens, like there is new waves, and then all the French scene like was a bit looking the same. So at that time we said, wait, okay, like everybody's like talking about like the different rap scenes in France, but nobody's talking about what's happening in Africa right now, and mostly like in the French-speaking countries, because there is no bridge like created between French-speaking countries and France, and that's really sad because of the dark histories that we have. I mean, like we know about colonization, and we're like, okay, we have to pay back for that, and we have like to be focused on what is happening in French-speaking African countries. So we went to Morocco, we went to Ivory Coast, and went to Mali for a series of 3 documentaries, and we met like crazy scenes, like people like struggling and making great music and telling stories that we never heard before. So what is happening right now is like the 2nd season of this Grunt tour, and it is starting with Lagos, and so far it's been like crazy as fuck. Like, well, sorry for the
Nah, it's cool.
But it's like it was like, wow, we are amazed by this city, amazed by the people, amazed by the vibe, the energy. Everybody seems running toward like one goal, and this is like absolutely crazy what we've been witnessing so far in here.
Awesome. So in the course of moving across Africa, what is the revelation? What is that thing you have come to know now that you couldn't have known before you embarked on that journey?
Couple of things. The first one is maybe the fact that there is something that I really love about African music is the respect that people have for the past, and the respect that they have for the prior artists that have been creating sounds for so long. And nowadays with like the internet culture, everybody's like picking some sounds and sampling music, but it always like winking to the past, like always using sounds that you can find in the Bambara culture in Mali, for instance, or listening like to old music and traditional music in Ivory Coast. And this is what I like, is like we are going further, but we always respect what has been, what has come before. And after that, there is another thing that really amazed me. And for instance, let's take the Ivory Coast example, is the fact that it's a French-speaking country, but like they've created a new language by their own. It's called Nushi, and it's like the the language of the streets, in fact, like pidgin, in fact, pidgin English in Nigeria. And the fact that they use this new kind of language creates like new patterns of flow, new way to use the French. And we never been like listening to that French speaking countries like with this new vibe. There is like, okay, this is a whole new language and it sounds like something I never heard before. So it's creating new kind of rap music. And this is why I was like so amazed by those guys. Okay, you have like turning history down and like making something new out of the blue, out of that new language that you use, and I was like amazed by that.
Wow. So with all these talents you showcase, do you have labels coming to you and saying, we like this person, we want to work with this person? You know, like, are you guys turning out to be like an A&R agency right now?
Yeah, but we as an independent media, we always want to stay focused about the media. This is what we want to do.
Okay.
But of course, like what we witnessed too during our trips was like the fact that industry is like get serious about African music too. So for instance, like Abidjan is like one of the home of the biggest like labels in Western French-speaking Africa. So we met people from Sony, we met people from Universal. No, Def Jam has his own like label back in the Ivory Coast too. So this is happening. So there is like a go and go thing between the industry. We are like focusing on say, who are these people talking about? Okay, let's go, let's sign them. So I think for the first time in a long time, this is going well because most of the time it was with like the majors. They were like picking one of the, you know, like the huge main artists, for instance, like Toumani Diabaté in Mali was like this legend. So all the record has been produced. But right now they are looking for even little like emerging artists and they okay, this one is interesting, let's sign him, let's help him, let's give him some money so he can like really create as his mind seems to be able to.
Yes. So I know Afrobeats is huge now around the world. But are you surprised to find that there's the sound of Nigeria is actually wider than Afrobeat?
Yeah, it's like there is so much stuff to say about that. First of all, one of the main reasons we are here is like, and no, there is like huge parties going on in Paris right now. Paris is like getting alive again because it's a bit of a museum city, but like there is so much parties going on, and like there is a real Afro culture too in Paris. And what happened like recently is like most of the parties I was going through is like every one out of 3 tracks was a track coming from Lagos. So everybody knows about the sound. So everybody knows about like the spirit and the new mindset that people have here. But when I came here, the first thing I saw again is like people were respecting their own past. So everybody was talking about Fela, for instance. Everybody was talking about the real Afrobeat without the S, of course. Everybody was quoting like Fuji music. So it's like all this journey of the Nigerian music is coming to an end with Afrobeats because it's like merging all the different cultures around the world, but still having like this Nigerian identity that makes it like unique in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I'm sure you've also noticed we also have like a huge hip hop community out here. It's a lot of artists that want to make rap music. And is this the same in most of the countries you've gone to?
Yeah, it's quite different because it seems, but again, like you have the science, so you will tell me correct me if I'm wrong, but for instance, what is huge, like in Ivory Coast, is a scene is called rap ivoire. So it's like rap music, and they want to do rap music, and they want to sound like real rappers, like still like looking at like New York, for instance. And we want to do bad verses, like harsh verses, like we want to show rhymes, we want to show our skills, we show the technique. But this is like really rap music. What is really interesting to me with Nigeria is like, of course there is this rap scene, there is the Afrobeats, and there is like this kind of merging, like this is like this middle ocean where all the culture crosses, and you can be a great rapper, and maybe most of the Afrobeats like artists, you can take them and say, okay, use that boom bap beat, and they're gonna rap over it, and they're gonna like sound like great rappers. But they are trying to create something new, and this is what is really interesting to me. Is like you know, when you study music, I don't know how to say that in English, but you have like your solfege, you know how to learn how to create music.
Yeah.
In my opinion, what is happening with the new cats in here is like they know how to do everything in music. So if you try them on anything, they will like be able to do it. But know that they have this culture. They are trying to push it forward and to create something new. And so they know the past again. They know the skills, but they're using it to create something new. And that's what amazes me too.
Yeah, awesome. I totally understand that. As a fan of hip hop or of rap music, I really like samples, and sometimes I feel like African artists have yet to tap into old African music to churn out unique samples. You know, what do you think about that?
I think this is like maybe the rap music has a lot to learn from house and techno music about that kind of samples, because like the electronic music scene has been like huge in Paris, for instance, using that kind of old samples and turning into like electronic beats, like all the culture back from Amapiano, for instance, in South Africa, or like the Afro house movement is something that learned us a lot of stuff in, for instance, because like it enables, like for instance, to reedit all vinyls, because we discovered like a new old track back from like a remix someone did. So this is something, and I totally agree with you, that maybe most of the rap producers should do too, like using back to old samples and turning back into a trap beat, so the trap beat sounds unique, and then rappers will try new flows and create new energies about that. So I think like this is the key to the success again, and this is why it's important respecting the past and like renew what has been in the culture for ages.
9 years is impressive. You guys have been doing this for 9 years. Where do you get the driving force? What has kept this movement going?
First of all, I guess it would be friendship between us, because like everyone, like every time like one of us like, oh, I'm getting tired of this, like, what? But have you listened to that? This is crazy again. Let's go back. So this is like always the fact that what brings us together is like there is always someone who wants to push something. For instance, like Theo is one of the programmer of the radio, and every morning he comes in the office and say, okay guys, I listened to that this morning, this is crazy, and we put it back on all the music stuff, and okay, this is cool, this is new cool cut, let's go again. And to be honest with you, like for instance, when I was saying that we were getting a bit bored about the French scene, like in the past like 3 years, there is something new going on right now. Like there is new cats who are creating some things that I never heard before, like using most of the voices samples, creating beats only with voices, for instance. And there is like a new generation which seems to be really interesting. So we are like following them like right now, like okay, this is gonna be huge, and it's always like cycles, in fact. So I think there is like at the beginning, every decade is a new cycle, and we are at the beginning of a new decade, and I think the next decade in France will be amazing for rap too. It's like I got the feeling that something is cooking right now in the underground of the Paris scene, like for real.
And you guys are going to get it first.
We'll be there, like no rest, like no time for sleeping. You get the Lagos mentality, like if you sleep one day, you're gonna miss one opportunity. So we never rest. Like we want like have this Lagos state of mind to bring it back to Paris. Like every single day, we're gonna like look for music, and mostly because you know what happened also with like the pandemic and the COVID, like for one year and a half we didn't have like any shows. So everybody's like so craving for music right now, that all the parties that happened like during this summer, because it was the first time in ages that we were able to party again, I saw like the people needed music. So I guess and artists have been working like hard because they have nothing else to do. So I think that there is like this connection between people who want to go back to partying and artists who are like ready to broadcast the new stuff they've been creating. And this is going to be like an explosion, in my opinion.
I cannot wait. I'm really looking forward to that. You have your whole crew in here. Guys, you guys cannot see them, but shout out to the whole Grunt crew. They're here, and you're creating content, right? And I find that in recent times, storytelling has become very important in marketing music. So before you embark on these trips, I like to think you get on YouTube, you try to do some findings on the people. Do you think people make enough content about themselves? Do you find enough stuff besides just music?
For instance, that's pretty useful what you're just saying, because for instance, when we were like starting to find content about the Lagos scene prior to the trip, I saw that for one good example was like, for instance, Mr. Easy did a documentary about himself just before releasing his album, and this is like exactly the kind of content that helps like people, foreigners, to understand what is a culture. And for instance, they were talking about like the mainland block parties, but the fact that okay, everything is going on in island, but it's also important to go back to the mainland. So it gives like geographic insights. It gives like all the culture, all the lifestyles that comes with it. Because correct me if I'm wrong again, but it seems like it's very important in here for the artist to be true about the lifestyle and to tell the real story of the Lagosian people when you create a record. So we have like to understand how people live in here to understand the music, and that's why it may be doing documentaries, like doing side documentaries, like with the album, could be really great for the people like who are listening, because we're not looking for Lagosian music anymore. It's coming to us, like, you know, whenever I open my Spotify, like there was in my like release radar, I'm gonna have like people from Lagos all the time. So now what I have to learn is who are these people for real, because I love the sound, but I want to understand where does it come from. So I guess yes, it's important like to add some content that can explain who you are, who are you coming from, why are you so unique, what is your backstory, in fact. And we need the backstories of the artists so people can really understand why this is unique.
Awesome. So basically people should endeavor to make more content.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I think so. And like, explaining themselves, like showing who they really are. And most of the time, you know, everybody's like on social networks, so everybody's like doing stories and stuff, but stories like just show where you are, what you are doing, who you are. But what we need is like maybe this voice, or this podcast voice, for instance, we can explain who people are. Because when we are looking at parties at Lagos, we don't understand where we are. We don't know who is playing. Like everybody seems to be amazed because someone just popped on the scene or whatever. But this is the kind of stuff we need to have like knowledge about to understand. And this is where, for instance, like I have to shout out, for instance, Truth, which is like in the studio, right?
Dustin Truth, shout out, bro.
And like he is always telling the backstory about everyone we are meeting, so we can understand way before like the interview. I know where I'm gonna like add the interview thanks to him, because he tells like the whole story about the people and stuff we need to know to understand. For instance, we were talking with Mizzle yesterday, and the whole story about Mizzle is really interesting because he was like creating TikTok videos, and that's the kind of insights that are really important, because it's social media. He was creating tutorials, like explaining what was the whiskey sound, so it was exactly on point about what he was doing. And thanks to Truth, we understand. I would have sit down in front of him, so you are an artist, you are doing music, but with this backstory, I know I can like
context.
Exactly.
Awesome. Wow. By the way, do you know Truth is a rapper?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
of course.
Are you a rapper? You struck me as a rapper.
No. I do speak fast, but that's all. Like I can do fast buzz, but no. I have so much respect for this music that I know I cannot do that. Like I tried sometimes to write some rhymes, and I was okay. Let's ask questions instead. It's not my job.
Lovely. So, just hearing you speak so passionately about the amazing work you guys do, and I'm thinking, would it be useful to perhaps have like an exchange program where people can, artists from different regions can go over to other regions and collaborate with people, experience the culture, the vibe, all that stuff? You know, I don't know. Just hearing you.
Yeah, like this is something we really want to do. For instance, we are currently like trying to create a podcast, because we have also on radios that we have built ourselves, but we are creating something. I think it's important to create bridges between cultures. And one of the main ideas I have about podcasts is creating podcasts like cassettes with like an A side and a B side. One, the A side could be like us showing to the people what is going on in Paris, and then on the B side there will be like, okay, we are from Lagos and this is what's new. So everybody can, if you want to listen to what's new in Lagos, by the way, you're gonna have also some content about France, and this is the way like to push boundaries like further. And we are creating this with a collective which is called Moonshine, an amazing collective coming from Quebec, and they are traveling all around the world because like they are DJing all around the world. So like they have been sending us like content from Kinshasa, they've been sending us like content from like Lisbon in Portugal, and we do like, for instance, like we're gonna like record some stuff and send it to them, and then we do this A side, B side all the time. And I think this is is really important to do that because it is time like to kill this like boundary like religion that we have been. So it's time like to merge the whole world and even like if we are able like to put, even if I speak in French in a podcast, maybe that people are going to listen it. Oh, I love it because he's speaking French and I don't get it, but I listen to the music and the music is okay. Let's do that kind of stuff. Like I think people are not like trying enough to create that kind of boundaries, and this is why we're like so happy for. It's so cool to thank you again to have us on this podcast. This is exactly the kind of thing I think we must do, like to change like this whole process about music, and like. It would be obviously like incredible that see that French artists are doing incredible music. They must collaborate with people from Lagos, and then we're gonna reach like a bigger world. I mean, if we talk about like just like the French-speaking Africa and the English-speaking Africa, we like mix that. The story is so much common. They can do like amazing songs telling like different stories, and if you do like international featuring like that, it's gonna be huge. And I think like Lagos is taking over the world. I mean, it's done. It's already like this is the new place. I mean, the next decade is going to be all about Lagos. But if you add that, like maybe creating content with like French-speaking countries around you and French-speaking countries, it's going to be like. Yeah. Then you put Spanish in there. You go see like J Balvin and stuff. And I mean, you're going to control the world. I see it happening. Like this is happening right now. So yes, but this is the next step. Is that like. Let's collaborate with like different cultures because it's going to change everything. I think.
Oh, lovely. So I'm curious, who are the big Nigerian or African artists in France? Like the guys who are known.
Lots of them. Of course, Burna Boy. Burna Boy is like interestingly, Burna Boy is like filling huge venues in France. Like he has like lots of shows. There is a place called Bercy, like a Palais Omnisport of Paris Bercy, and it's like one of the biggest venues we have. And Burna Boy is filling it like 3 days in a row. Whoa. And for instance, Drake last time did it only 2 times. So it's like huge because of the French diaspora. Like there is an African diaspora really important in Paris, so people like can relate to that kind of sound and they really love and they're pushing like that artist everywhere. So yeah, the Burna Boy, the Rema, I mean the Omale, I mean we got everything. With every time I open my Spotify, it's coming from Nigeria all the time, and all the DJs are like spinning that records all the time. So I don't know. I can't tell. There is so much names, but yeah, it's always like and the electronic music too, because like they're also pushing my piano music. Of course, it's South African, Nigerian, but lots of different stuff is like, and even like the OGs artists are coming a lot of time to Paris. There is like a couple of places there where you can see like Pat Thomas, you can see like also like this high life from Ghana culture, you can see. So there is like room for everyone, like for young cats and the OGs, and everyone is like playing at the same place. So Paris has this like huge like love for the African music for ages, and this is a place that people should explore. But yeah, so much artists, like everyone is like all around the place in Paris. Like Paris is like the heart of Paris is vibrating for Nigeria right now. For real.
Wow, that is so good to know. And before now, there's an artist who's very dear to us. Who there's no way you can talk about her story without mentioning France, because she got signed to Naive Records in France.
Naive, of course.
Asha. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. She was signed like to a French.
She blew up out there and became international. You know, so I guess the romance between Nigeria and France musically
that's
has been
a good example.
For a while.
I'm sorry that I don't have like the.
No, it's
but,
okay.
It's exactly that kind of stuff. Yeah.
She makes like soul music. You know, like so it's not like You know, and I'm talking about musical palettes. There's also a budding electronic music scene in Nigeria right now. You know, they're not known yet, but it's just a lot of people who are doing that and trying to push that. So for a genre that is not so popular, what can artists or the people who do them, what can they do to,
I think it's all about the The visuals again. For instance, I remember I ran like a couple of years back. I ran into a video by a collective called Ekiti Sound System, and this was this song called Ife, and it was like rough footage from like an under the bridge kind of party. And when I saw that, I was okay. This is like the raving scene. So these guys are like spinning records. People are like raving out, like crying almost listening to the track. And this is the kind of stuff that we want to see, because what we like to see about like the electronic scene is the parties, in fact. And most of the parties, like most of the images we have like through footage, through like music videos, is like always like super classy spots, super like everybody's like so sharp, so beautiful. But what is important about like electronic music is dancing, and I think people should see and show more what a real party, like an electronic party in Nigeria is, so people can relate to that and say, okay, I must be a part of that, so I'm going to travel to see what is really happening. So yeah, and most of the DJs are like using samples, as you said, but they're not meeting the real artists. And I think like collabs between like techno and house artists back in France with electronic artists from Nigeria would be amazing too, because there is so much to create like all together.
Awesome. Who is the French artist right now, new or established, that we should be excited about?
So you want me to talk about like the underground cats, or like
yeah, you know,
what we
the
have...
known guys, the underground guys, people we need to, like, after this podcast, people they need to run to check for.
Okay. So is this guy? You know what is really interesting about like the scene in France is like there is France, but there is also Belgium, which is really close. And for the first time this last decade, like Belgium has settled themselves like as a huge country. It's like, for instance, like Canada and the US, right? It's the same story.
Yeah.
So there is this guy who has been like killing it from like a couple of years, called Damso. Damso is like one of the biggest stars right now, and I think people would really like what he's doing because he has like this rap. Like he knows how to rap big time. He's coming from Brussels and he's telling these backstories about Brussels. But also he was born in Kinshasa back in the days. And so he also brings that kind of Afrobeats sound into his music. So you could listen to like a trap banger, and then just afterward, for instance, there is a song called Kinshasa, and like, oh, I'm starting to dance just afterward. And this is a bit like the Afrobeats culture. Like it's like merging different genres into one single stuff. But talking about the real new cats, there is like this guy we all love at the Grunt right now is called Rally. And Rally is like the new cat, like doing some weird stuff with his voice. He's like rapping with a baby voice all the time. And that's like, that sounds new and crazy, and we love that. We love him right now, but we are like fighting. We want him to push him like big time, because it's going to be huge. And one another guy that you should listen to, because I think you're going to like him. The guy is called Chansco. Chanceko, and he's like so in love with Nigeria that his dream is to come here. And he was like, we were talking on the phone about, oh my God, you're doing my dream, like you're in Lagos right now, I want to do that. So maybe you should check him up, because he seems like to be into like the Nigerian sound.
How do you spell that, please?
Chane, like C-E, like chance,
yeah,
okay, and K-O.
CHANCE. Okay.
Chance, yes.
E.
And yet then K-O.
Oh, K-O.
Yeah,
all right. Chance Core.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, you need to check this guy out. Show him some love.
And if you want, we did like a live session with him on the Grunt channel, YouTube.
Okay.
You're going to see what he's able to do, because he's bringing like a lot of live instruments as he's rapping. So like this is like really musical, and this is really interesting. And it's all about the melodies. And I think like what is interesting about the Afrobeats culture and the Nigerian music is that every song is all about the melodies. So this guy is trying to do kind of a Nigerian way of music.
Lovely. So, what should African creatives be doing more of?
I think that we have nothing left to teach. Like you are the future. Like we are the people who must learn from you guys. Like it's like everything that you are doing is like inventing some new stuff. I mean, the world culture is amazing, the dance culture is amazing, the electronic music is amazing, the Nigerian music is amazing. Please teach us what you are doing right now. I mean, like this is the other way around now. It's like no. So that I have nothing like to tell. Like you're doing it perfectly. I mean, like this is like the most beautiful soft power I have seen in a couple of years. So I mean, like the planet has changed around. So you are in the middle of the world. So we are coming to you guys. That's all. There is nothing else to say.
Man, Jean, thank you so much. for the incredible work you guys do.
Thank you very much.
I can't wait. Soon enough, you guys are going to celebrate 20 years, 25 years. It's going to be a huge
We hope so.
company. And then another company can come buy you guys out for $500 million. And then you can send us some of it.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
And shout out to you. And I'm just reading something that I can find on the studio. Like there is this sentence like we only need one listener to build an audience. And I think this is what media should be. And this is like the perfect. When you have a story to tell it. At least there's gonna be one guy listening to it, and time by time it's gonna change the world. So congrats to what you are doing, and thank you so much for having us. Like we are really proud to be a part of this podcast. So that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and I do hope that you have found this episode as useful as I have. Please hit the like button, share, and leave a comment on our page to help this podcast touch as many lives as possible. Keep listening.